Okay, guys, right. Let's kick this off. First and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time to join us wherever you are in the world. It's fascinating seeing where everyone is, all different time zones, all different countries. So we really appreciate you giving us your time today. Our promise and our return to you is going to make this insightful, actionable, and give you some real insights and literally lift the lid on how a CRO agency operates, an effective CRO program, and most importantly, the reason why 99% of you are here today, show you some real life case studies in those massive winning tests that consistently win when we're testing on ecom brands. For context, I've asked Kyle, our head of CRO, on this workshop today. I guarantee if it was just me, half of you would turn up. So I'm happy that Kyle's on here because he is really the guy who is in the day-to-day of CRO. He is running experiments across around about what, 70 brands at the moment, Kyle?
Yeah, around about that number. Yeah.
60 to 70 brands. He heads up a team of around about 40 CRO specialists. And we're going to pull Carl in on some really good Q&A. Also, he's going to walk us through some of the tests and he's going to have some real insights here as well. So guys, throughout the workshop, if there are any questions, please just let us know in the chat. We will get to them. Maybe during or at the end, there is going to be time for a QA. And after we've done those all important case studies, very shortly, we're going to be offering everyone on this live workshop and only on the live workshop, a very exclusive offer. So unlocking the biggest CRO wins, the framework we use to capture an additional $140 million in incremental increase in revenue for sales for our ecom clients in 2024. Very quickly, if you are unaware of who I am, who Kyle is, who ConversionWise is, I'm Oliver Kenyon. I am CEO and co-founder here of ConversionWise. Kyle is our fantastic head of CRO. He's the CRO brain. He's the one who operates all of our CRO specialists. And we are a team of 70 in total, 70 plus across both of our solutions. CRO agency that were founded back in 2012. We've worked with over 3,500 plus brands. We've designed 7,500 plus landing pages, which is just crazy. We've run thousands of split tests. We are the top 3 convert.com Shopify agencies worldwide, and we are the highest rated CRO agency on Trustpilot, something I'm amazingly proud of. I know that's the origin story bit, the bit that you're all bored about. We want to get into the real insights of exactly why you're here today. So what are you going to learn today? You're going to learn the hidden strategy behind these 140 million revenue boost in 2024 alone. We're going to show you the reason you're here, the biggest wins that we consistently get time and time again, why these tests keep winning, and we're going to give you scalable CRO strategies that you can implement in your brands as well, which is really important. Whenever we do these workshops, whenever we speak on stage, whether it's me, Carl, the couple of things that we like to provide for our audience is real actionable insights. I want everyone on this workshop to go away with a single item. If it's more than one, perfect, but one thing that you can take, implement in your business and generate more revenue. Does that sound good to you, Carl?
Sounds good.
Let's do it. Okay, so very quickly, before we get to those all-important tests, yeah, we could skip to the tests. Yes, me and Carl could sit here going like, we get winning tests for all our clients. These tests are guaranteed to win for you. That's not what we're about. We're about keeping it real when it comes to conversion rate optimization, something that we've always done for the last 12 years. We want to first and foremost educate you around an effective CRO program because there might be some bottlenecks if you're running one right now or you're running your own CRO. But also it's our job to not just go, hey, look at these shiny objects, they're going to work for your brand. No, we want to explain how we got to those conclusions, how we created those hypotheses, and how we created these massive uplifting tests for our clients. This is the power of CRO. I don't feel there's a better image that describes CRO better than this. All of you guys run your own brands or you're part of agencies or whatever you guys are doing. And I think there's so much noise in the ecom space around scaling. It's around media. It's around buying more traffic. How can we scale? How can we reduce our CAC? How can we spend more on Meta? How can we spend more here and everywhere? But effectively, what you're doing, if you're not running an effective CRO program or you're not optimizing your site, is you're chucking all of these visitors and all of this money at a leaky bucket. And it's not going to increase and build up the money because there's so many holes in your store or in your landing pages or in your post-click attribution that you're just going to be bleeding money. And we've all been there, guys. We all know that e-com isn't easy. There's so many challenges when it comes to e-com. But I feel, and hopefully Carl agrees with me, you will say yes, Carl, that CRO is the single-handed most effective way to add incremental revenue to your brand from the exact same visitors. And that's the important thing. It's the same people that you're paying to go to your site, but when you start to plug the bucket, that you can see that the money piles up. So there's a lot of ways to do this the wrong way. And I want everyone to be fully honest with me when I read through this slide and say yes in the channel if you do any of the things that I'm about to show you, which we believe after 12 years of doing this for thousands of brands is the wrong way of doing effective conversion rate optimization. So have a look through this list. I'll read through them and you need to tell me if you feel this is you. So be honest, guys. Look at me in pain here. This is the wrong way to do, a hard way to do CRO. So if you're blindly implementing, so you're not even gathering any data, you're just saying that's going to work, let's implement this. This is even more so important when you're above a certain volume of traffic. If you're copying your competitors because you just think they made it work, so we're going to make it work. If you think there's one size fits all solutions, they're doing it, we're doing it, it's going to work. If you're skipping user research, or if you don't do any effective user research, and if you're relying solely on that gut instinct, if you're focusing just on design, so when you're focusing just on brand and design, this is the wrong way to do it. Are you chasing the latest trends? Are you getting distracted? Are you thinking just because someone else is doing it or it's a trend, it's going to work for your store and you just blindly implement it? And are you focusing only on your branding? Like show of hands, apparel brands in the room. I know you focus heavily on branding. It's a mistake we see all the time. So guys, if this is you, put yes in the channel, be honest. Carl, anything you would add to this list? What do you see as other ways that people just mess up CRO?
I think just to like double down on them, like especially when you work with the bigger brands, is like the copying competitors. Like you probably look up to brands that you think, oh, I wish I could do it like them, but they're doing the exact same. They're like, oh, we should be doing it like that. Like I think just is it okay to get inspiration from it, or maybe like the angle or the way they've designed certain things, but you never really know what's working for them. Branding, I just don't believe in. Like unless you're
You're going to
multi.
get a lot of people pissed off with you in the comments
Yeah,
for that
but it's
comment.
like I just think you're not a brand until like there's only certain brands. Like brands are huge. I don't think you should even be worried about branding. Your customers.
I think I say a healthy argument we have with brands all the time is like brand versus performance, right? Like, should we have this site that looks so highly branded versus should we implement conversion design principles and CRO principles that are actually going to generate revenue and increase our revenue per visitor? Yeah, definitely a good one, guys. So we've got some lots of yeses in here. So it's good to see that a lot of you are getting things wrong because hopefully we can help you get things right. But it's also good to see that some of you are doing things right already. So now let's have a look at, here we go. This is you holding your hand up. So now let's have a look at optimizing the right way. And this is how we feel and how we conduct our CRO when it comes to the right way for doing it for brands and getting results. So look how happy I am. Don't ask me why I had this photo shoot, but they came very in handy when I was doing these kind of decks and putting these together. But are if you're making data-driven decisions, if you're conducting qualitative and quantitative research, and we'll go into that shortly, how you do that in an effective manner before we get into these case studies. Are you analyzing customer behavior and feedback? Are you doing comprehensive user research and surveys? Are you surveying your audience? You're actually getting first-hand responses from your audience. Are you prioritizing their user experience and conversion paths, UX and UI? Are you doing A/B testing and iterative optimization? Effective CRO programs will show you how to do that. Are you identifying friction points through heat map and analysis? Structured and ongoing testing process, using insights to generate actionable test ideas? And are you taking bigger swings? I think this is a trend in CRO right now, but it's something that we're seeing working more so than ever. Getting results from taking bigger swings, not just testing isolated A/B tests, but things like offer tests, price tests. Are you introducing new types of landing pages post-click? Taking those bigger swings and redesigning above the folds, etc., can really have an astronomical effect on your revenue or the money you're making per visitor. Carl, any to add to this, or what do you feel from recent experience with brands we're working on is the most important here?
Yeah, I just think, and it might resonate with a lot of people in the chat, is like that last one, taking bigger swings. I
Mm,
think even for our bigger clients, we're starting to push that a bit more forward first. It goes against the norm. Like you don't really know what caused the uplift, but sometimes is worth a punt because I think especially at the lowest scale, you haven't got enough time or data to test small things. Like testing a copy test, yeah, it can cause an uplift, but if you have to run it for 2 months, is the ROI really there? It's more
yeah.
like time, like just change it, just put a load of things together and go for that big uplift. That's what we've been pushing on a lot recently, even for our bigger clients, at least once a month, and just trying to bring that into the roadmap.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Okay, guys. So moving on to how do we get this data? We're talking about surveys, we're talking about qualitative, quantitative. So how do we gather this important data? Well, we look at two types of data. Quantitative data provides hard numbers and metrics that show you what is actually happening on your site. So things like GA4, heat map, doing heat map analysis, scroll depth analysis, session recordings give you insights on actually visitors' behavior at scale. Here are what we consider must do. So these are non-negotiable whenever someone works with us at ConversionWise. And we'll show you these in action when it comes to the case study section of like how we came to the hypothesis or the test idea from doing these things. But things like web analytics tracking, performance, health checks, analytical health checks, funnel drop-off analysis, and where are people actually dropping off within your funnel? Where are they going post-click? Where is the biggest drop-off happening? Same with scroll depth on heat map analysis, site and performance speed, user segmentation, competitor benchmark, heat map analysis, session recordings, and price and offer testing. That goes back to that bigger swing mentality of like, have any of you actually just tried taking bigger swings when it comes to like changing your prices or offers? And we'll have some examples to show you in the case study section. Anything to add on this one, Carl?
I would just say I think the main ones for me is funnel and drop off analysis,
Yep.
depending on what you're sending the traffic to. So you could either see where people are dropping off in the funnel, like are they getting to the collection pages, are they getting to the product pages? If you're sending to the product page, okay, how many of them are adding to cart? Then the second one would be heat map analysis. Again, data dependent. You have to really get 5,000 sessions in the data tool to validate it.
Yep.
So that's really data dependent, but like with scroll maps as well, you could see where people are going. And like what we tend to do is like if you're losing if 75% of your people drop off below the fold, then only focus on the above the fold. That's all that matters because you could do all this work below the fold, but no one's seeing it. And then session recordings. I think everyone could set up any session recording tool and you could watch them. Even on very low sessions, you could just watch how people interact with your store. These are things that don't need a lot of data, especially session recordings, and just
Yep.
see, okay, how are they purchasing? What do they click on? What are they looking for straight away? And that's not really data dependent.
No, absolutely. Moving on to qualitative. So this is more so the why and why users behave they well the way they do. So again, it involves gathering direct feedback from things like surveys, whether it's exit intent, whether it's post-purchase, it's feedback, or it's just surveying your audience. The amount of brands we speak to of a massive size. And I say to them, I ask them the question, do you have post-purchase survey set up? And they say, yeah. And as soon as I hear it in their voice, when I ask the next question of, okay, well, what questions do you ask? I know for a fact they're going to tell me, they ask, well, how did you find us today? And it's just such a waste of a question when you could be asking questions like, why did you purchase today? What almost stopped you making a purchase today? And gathering that really important direct customer feedback straight after a purchase that can unlock so many hypotheses and so many test ideas. Usability testing is another example. So here are a couple again of our non-negotiables that we do and we recommend anyone does to do effective CRO. So user session recordings, heat map analysis, user testing and usability studies, customer survey and feedback loops, heuristic UX audits, and review mining. Carl, anyone who doesn't have post-purchase surveys set up correctly or who isn't doing it right now should be doing it. But we speak to a lot of brands and we take them on under the agency and they say, well, we have a list of 500,000 previous purchases. How can we gather that data? What's the best way of doing that?
So yeah, like I think there's a couple ways. Obviously, you want to set up a post-purchase survey. You want to ask about their buying experience, what were they looking for, what motivated them to purchase. I think if you've got a list of customers you can email, you want to first incentivize the email. So don't just ask them to fill out a survey. You want to give them £50 Amazon gift card voucher. Like there's got to be an incentive for them. They're not just going to do it
And
because
that
they
could be a giveaway, by the way. It doesn't
yeah.
mean you have to give every single person
No,
$50.
yeah. What one person picked
Enter
up.
the chance. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just £150. You kind of want to segment it as well. So you want to
Mm.
avoid people that's purchased in the last 7 days because they haven't got your product, they didn't always like yet, and you want to cap it at 90 days. So you want to segment it between last 7 and 90 day purchasers because they still got your product, they still remember it. People, if you go further back than that, they might be like, "Who is this brand?" and just give you false data.
Yeah.
Um, on those email surveys, you kind of want to be asking like what were they expecting the product? Like what did they want the product to change? Like what was that? Why did they buy this? What was the pain points in their life? How is the
Mm.
product now? How would they describe their life now? How is that impacted their life? What you really want to find out on this email survey is one, what were they expecting the product to be like? So that gives you information. Okay, if they bought it because they were expecting it to fix this, let's put that on the site.
Yeah.
Two is like, how do they describe their life now? Is okay, these are like benefits that we should be putting on site because you don't want to just put on your site features and benefits. You want to sell outcomes. So how does the product out what's the outcome of their life now that
Mm.
they've got their product?
We talk a lot about like transformation. It's like what when someone comes onto your site, you need to take them in a visual transformation of like, I don't have your product to benefiting from your product, and what is that outcome, 6 months down the line if it's like a health and wellness product, for example. So yeah, absolutely right. We need to gather that data, and you'll be amazed at how many commonalities you see across your demographic and your audience when you do start surveying people. So really
Yeah,
important to
I
do
think
it.
just one thing
Yeah,
to
please.
as well is review mining.
Yeah.
Like I think there's golden nuggets in there for your site and for your ads. Like you could base whole ad concepts on these reviews. One for the lower session guys, like if you don't have a lot of reviews or like you don't have that data, you can't send out an email survey, you're just starting off, go to your competitors or go to Amazon. And I know it's easy to use AI, but don't use AI. Just get an A4 doc, just go through each review, and you just want to write out a review like what did they speak about? And then if you see someone else speak about that again, just put a tally next to it.
Amazing.
And do this for a few hours, take a few days doing it. You will find some golden nuggets in there. Like there's just unbelievable ones. I think, especially on certain sites, depending on niche, you can find out what's the most helpful review.
Mm.
And if it's most helpful, it means people resonate with it. So you want to find them and be like, okay, what do they resonate about this review?
I think another source is that our
Reddit.
guys use as well as Reddit. Yeah, Reddit discussions, forums, communities where people are so opinionated around a specific product, whether it's your competitor or not. But finding things like Kyle said, like tonality, use of words, phrases that they mention, good and bad, and then utilizing that for your own. So some amazing tips there. Love it.
And yeah, just on the Reddit as well, like and the most helpful review, the most upvotes you get is
Yeah,
people. This is people resonating with them. Like if you see a post, a Reddit post about a product in your niche, and it has like 200 upvotes, that means 200 people literally agree with this. So like you want to look for those, and you want to just
what a
base.
source of validation and social
Yeah,
proof, right? Like
exactly.
100%. So we've got this data. How do we now implement this into an effective CRO strategy? And don't worry, guys, we're going to get to those all important case studies very, very shortly. So we look for three components typically when we're creating a hypothesis or a test idea. One is the change. So what do you actually plan to alter? Two, what is the expected outcome? So what's the result that you're going to anticipate from making this change or testing this change? And the rationale. So why you believe this change will lead to the outcome. This guides all your CRO efforts. We will then take our hypothesis, we will rank them in the PXL framework. Carl, do you want to just quickly take us through this framework? There's many other frameworks available, but this is what we use internally.
Yeah, so we use a PXL is slightly more complex than this.
Yeah,
It's just an example. It basically takes away our judgment and bias, and we use data. So, like, how many data points back up our hypothesis, like our test idea? Is it easy to develop? Okay, let's give it a 5. And then, is it noticeable within 5 seconds? Like, are people really going to see this? Because you could have all the data pointing to a test that's really far below the fold, and no one's going to see it. So is it takes in like impact, ease of development, and confidence. So it's like another word for it is ICE, impact, confidence, ease, and then it gives you a tally, and then this way you kind of know, okay, the number's highest for this, I should start with this one. So yeah, that's how we do it.
Yeah, and this just allows you to make easier decisions of like where you feel the biggest impact will come. Because ultimately, all we're trying to do is get to obviously winning tests quickly. But again, we're the first to say that not all tests will win. More tests will lose than will win. But this allows you to kind of rank them in a good way. So let's get on to the A/B testing itself. We've just written down some kind of foundational principles. We'll kind of fly through these. We always look at control versus variance. So obviously you have your control, which is your base store, your page, whether that's your PDP, your landing page, your home page. That's what you call your control. You then test it against a new variant. So this is the variant we want to test. Also, it's called A/B testing. It's unlimited to how many variants you can test against each other, depending on data, etc. You can also look at MVP, so multivariate test, MVT, multivariate testing as well, which is something completely different. We always aim for statistical significance and stat power. Carl, do you want to just like share what you guys are thinking about that right now,
Yeah, so
as far as like confidence?
again, it's really brand dependent. It's
Yeah, and size.
how,
Yeah,
how much risk do you want to take? So we say to the brand owner, like, how risky do you want us to be? If it's a big brand, we'll do 95%. If it's a brand that's just like, look, guys, I just want to see changes, we're like, okay, we'll lower the risk threshold. The
yeah.
lower confidence you go for, the higher risk is that it might not be validated as a winner. We typically go for the 90%, and then 95% for the bigger brands. And then if we work with the smaller brands, we'll lower that threshold down. But again, we don't make that decision. It's up to the brand owner how much risk they want to take. And then, yeah, you want to look for power as well when you're doing tests. So you don't need to know what it means. You could use an A/B test calculator. It's quite hard to explain. Um,
I would say power is more important, right? Though, like because
power is
uh,
more important, yeah, because like,
but you need a sample size for power because power is like saying, okay, if I have a coin and I flip it three times and two times its tails, I'm backing my tails, but you haven't got enough sample size to say that that's the power decision. Statistical significance, sorry. So you haven't got enough sample size to say that's statistically significant. So what power does is it gives you a big enough sample size versus the test to be confident that it's going to be an uplifting test.
yeah. Yeah, basically, like, yeah, like Ollie said, statistical significance, maybe like flipping a coin 10 times. Power
Yeah.
is like flipping it 1,000 times. Is how confident are we that that's gonna be a winner?
And typically your CRO tool or your A/B testing tool will tell you this. So we are Convert.com's largest European CRO agency. We're their fastest ever premium agency. And their tool allows us to track both these metrics to make sure that when we're implementing a test, it really is a winner with an uplift. Okay, so we'll kind of go through these. We want to get onto the case studies. We know you guys are all excited about that. A few other best practices. So it's really important to have a clear hypothesis. So always start with like a desired measurable outcome. We always will do pre-test and post-test analysis. So we'll always have a very clear hypothesis and outcome of what we want to achieve from that test. Avoid conflicting tests. I guess, again, this comes down to the size of your brand and the volume of traffic you're doing. What do you do as a rule of thumb with this at the moment, Carl?
It's really dependent on the
Yeah, on
size.
the size. Yeah.
If you're doing massive volumes, you can run tests simultaneously. Obviously, not do a product page image and a product page title because like that will conflict. What we typically do is if you're at medium size, it'll be one test per page. So we can run a product page and a carpet test page. We can run a product page and a collection page test. Like you can run tests at the same time. Just make sure they're not both in the same section or on the same page if you're lower
Yeah, and
traffic.
I think if we're doing more isolated tests, we'll typically do a velocity of like 4 to 6 tests per store per month, right? If you're taking bigger tests, bigger swings, you can afford to do bigger, less tests, but like bigger plays. So again, it does all come down to size, but there are definitely best practices. Always QA your test. This is one that's so important. Make sure you go through it yourself. Make sure it's QA'd before you set it live because you can have bugs in tests that then will affect your results. And prioritize revenue over conversion rate. I've been doing this for 12, 13 years. Everyone always fixated around conversion rate. We've just had recent brands that are like, we want to take our conversion rate from this to this. However, anyone can increase your conversion rate because you just decrease your prices. If I was to half all your prices today, all of your conversion rates would probably go up 99%, unless you are a higher ticket item where the value proposition had changed, or perception of the value. So you want to take a blended metric. 9 times out of 10, that's revenue per visitor or revenue per session, which is a blend between your conversion rate and your average order value. So how much am I making per person that's running through this test, which is really important to look at. So guys, hit me with a 1 in the chat if you are ready to get into these case studies. I know that's the main reason most of you are here. So we're going to take you through these case studies. Hit me with a 1. I want to see a load of 1s before we run through these. Appreciate you going through that, but we had to set this up in the right way. Okay, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Love it. All these 1s coming through. Cool. Let's get to it. So here we go. Some CRO case studies. So I put this slide in here. Warning, these tests will not work for your brand. And I mean this in the kindest and most honorable way. I hope more than anything, you can take these test ideas, you can run some tests yourself, and you can get some amazing results. But without us doing the pre-warm up to the case studies around how to run effective CRO tests, we can't do these bits any justice because we came up with these ideas based on doing that quantitative and qualitative research, based on doing everything me and Carl just spent the last 20 minutes talking around. So for you to take these tests and blindly implement them on your store could be a mistake. You need to do the research. And that's one of the most important takeaways anyone on this workshop watching it live or on a replay should take away. But let's get into it. I'm going to use my confetti. I love the confetti on Canva. Love it. Okay, guys. So we're going to share with you some winning tests. We're going to go through the details of the tests, and we're going to give you some examples of actual before and afters and the results they got for our clients last year. Obviously, we roll these across 60, 70 brands at any given time. So these are just one example per test. We're going to start with a price test. So again, I'm just going to move myself so I can see the text. I'm going to explain the test. Economic data indicated our customers are more price sensitive, leading us to test lower product prices versus offering gifts. Using Intelligems, we A/B tested price reductions against gift incentives to measure the impact. So this was a test where typically the single SKU had a gift with purchase, so it had a gift attached to the purchase. And instead, what we did is we tested removing the gift and actually just reducing the price. So you're making similar margin, you're making the same amount. And you can see here, the winning price was actually $35 without gift versus $38 with gift. And the incremental increase for this customer was over $63,000 per month. Price testing, Carl, definitely one that we'd recommend.
Yeah, and I think again we came to data and we actually tested the gift first and it lost, and then that's how we came to this test. You don't always need data to test this one. Like just test your prices. I think is an easy lever you can pull. If you've got enough data, test raising them 5%, test decreasing them 5%. Even if you think your product's expensive, people will probably pay for it a bit more. So if you could boost that AOV and that profit, try to do that. Obviously, in this case, we knew we had to decrease it and not increase it. But yeah, test your prices. Like a lot of brands are doing this at the moment, and no one really knows the sweet point until you test it. And then once you've had a winning price test, test it again. Try a different price and just keep going at that.
Love it. Winning test number 2, guys, the mega menu test. I swear this is a test. We have a feedback and wins channel in our internal Slack community. We push all winning tests in there. We celebrate wins like they're our own, all these incremental increases for our customers. And I swear this is a test that I see probably more than most come into that channel. It's a mega menu test. And so many stores under optimize their mega menu. So what we did here is we introduced a best seller carousel. As you can see, this is the before. This is Boom by Cindy Joseph. This is Ezra Firestone's brand that we run CRO for. We introduced a best seller carousel. We then took the shop link and just collapsed it without having to click through and just expanded the categories within the mega menu. We put icons next to them, which drew attention and were easily clickable. We added some all-important social proof, which actually handled a common objection that we got from post-purchase surveys. And then we moved what I call non-monetary pages, so the pages that don't really make you any money, to the bottom of your mega menu. So I think this is a test that a lot of people can test. I think, especially around the bestsellers and carousels, we see this win time and time again. It's because, Carl, you say this a lot, but, humans follow the herd mentality, right? So we need to give them a nudge in a direction of where to go. Most people will, as a new customer or a new visitor to your store, open your breadcrumb or your mega menu because they're browsing. They want to be like suggested of where to go and want to see how they can get to a certain page quicker. So it's a really good test to put in here. You can see the results it got for Ezra. Almost 500,000 in forecasted revenue per month, per year, just from doing this test. It's a test we see all time and time again, right, Carl?
Yeah. I think the goal of a mega menu is just to drive people towards the products. Like that's what people use a
Push
mega
them
menu.
further down, yeah.
Yeah, push them further down the funnel. Like, and I think the problem which was on Ezra's and obviously a lot of other stores that we see is like there's no ease of separation between what is buying and what is not buying. I think especially if you've got older demographic, which in this case it was,
Yeah.
it's very hard for them to differentiate what that is. So yeah, what we did was just shorten that path up to like they don't have to click through, they can see all the product lines, they can see all the categories. The reason we added social proof in is because heat maps just like, and I bet it's the same for your store. The mega menu is the most clicked item on your heat map. So people don't really see the store. They most likely land on the homepage, they see if they like the product or not, and then they click the menu. So that's why we added in social proof there. I think another one that we see constantly win if you've got enough SKUs is adding in the search bar into the mega menu. The reason that works is because people who search convert a lot higher. But when you showcase them what products you offer and then give them the search option, then they have like more direction. Okay, I want to search for this. When you
Yeah.
just show them the search bar without showing the products, they don't know what to search. So including that search bar into the
It gives
mega
them an
menu.
idea, right, of what's in your
Yeah.
catalog, your collection.
And then of course, if everyone's clicking the menu first, they're seeing the search bar.
Yeah.
So that's great. Great.
Yeah, nice insights. Love it. Winning test. I told you it was worth getting Carl on here, didn't I? Love it. Winning test number 3. So in-cart tests. Again, things like utilizing free gifts, free shipping, but gamifying the cart experience. We utilize and we have partners who we do this with. But this was a test where we introduced a unlock. So, a lot of people on this workshop will do free shipping, but can you take that one step further? Can you incentivize a further purchase by adding something like a free gift? Now, this gift doesn't have to be something that costs you guys hundreds of dollars, tens of dollars. It could potentially be remnant stock that you're trying to get rid of. It could be, let's say you offer protein, but you want to do a protein shaker in cart. It's something that gamifies that cart, gives someone an excuse to want to add more to their cart because they think the value is going to be so much better because they unlock a free gift worth X amount. So this was a test that we ran. We tested gift with purchase thresholds in addition to finding the sweet spot for the shipping threshold, and then testing those shipping prices as well. And this saw an $8 increase to AOV. Like that is huge. That's huge across scale. That is absolutely huge. And yeah, just a great test that we constantly test. Carl,
Uh,
any input on this one?
I'll add a few things onto it. I think
Please do.
what, there's things to bear in mind here, like make it accessible. So don't put the free gift at a stupid price to unlock the free gift.
Yeah.
Like people buy three more of this, like no one's going to do it. Don't make it just above your most common purchase value. So if your AOV or your most common purchase is 49, don't make it 50 because that would just piss people off and they'll leave. I do it on sites like £49 and shipping's £50 free, I'll just leave. Um, and then make it accessible. So in terms of make sure there's upsells in the cart that allow people to get to this threshold. Um, so yeah, if you've got other products, if it's more than one product, let them add it in the cart. And then like on the upsell in the cart, don't just put like we recommend or
Yeah.
like
Yeah, this is a
something
big unlock. Yeah.
like change the copy to something like users typically buy it with, or like we.
Yeah, I think this is a great copy on your in-cart upsells because in-cart upsells can have negative effect to your revenue per session. I think this is one that we see time and time again where so many brands just think we need to have in-car upsells, and the copy typically is, like Carl said, something like, you should also buy, or off, this also good, or whatever it may be. Think about what product SKUs you're selling, and position that copy with a natural reason why you would purchase. So, get better results with, often works with, often purchase with, and think about what you're doing above those one-click upsells. I see you guys asking for in-car upsell recommendations and plugins. We would typically use Aftersell. Aftersell is a partner of ours, and you guys. Upcart for
Yeah,
Upcart for him.
it's
So
after
it's by
sell by
Aftersell. Yeah.
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 Yeah, we tend to go there, and they tend to be good price, and it's just really accessible. So is one click, you can play around with it. It doesn't need a dev,
Yeah.
and it'll money in the long run.
If you needed intro, let us know. Okay, winning test number 4, guys. Hopefully you're enjoying this. So, collection tests. Okay, another test that everyone can do if they don't have this already. So, on this particular test, heat map data showed us that the products simply weren't being viewed or clicked due to the large display of the collections. So, what did we do? We redesigned. This is the before. We redesigned the collection page to be a 2x2 grid. We also then sorted the items via revenue per session, which is really important. You can gather this data. I'll actually show you a screenshot. You can gather this data by using something like heatmap.com, a heat map testing software, where you can see, for example, products way below the fold, we're going to make you way more revenue per session. So what do? We simply order them. Whereas this product, for example, is only making you, for example, 1 cent per session. We can push it further down the fold. So a really nice test for people to do. Again, I say this time and time again, but when we look at, we audit and we analyze and we look at, hundreds of stores per week. And a big mistake people make on their collection pages, they have these huge hero banners. They have these massive blocks of text. They then have these huge product cards. And, it takes me like 2 scrolls just to see one product. Your product page should do 2 primary things. 1, I should be able to see your products. 2, I should be able to easily filter and sort your products. So if your collection page if your collection page isn't doing those things, you are literally leaving money on the table. So this is a really easy test that people can implement. Carl, any thoughts on this one?
No, I think you explained it well.
Yeah.
Like I said, this was a test where the most revenue per session was like 6 products down, which was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, but like Ollie said, like use heat maps to your advantage. Reorganize your best set, like your collection order by revenue per session. And yeah, make it accessible. I think the biggest thing for collections is like let them see the products. You can have copy above the fold, and it does really work well sometimes if the copy's good, but always make sure the products are visible. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, definitely. Like headlines and descriptions work, but just don't do it so much with a big hero image, a big paragraph of text, and just, hide your products. The main point of that collection page is to showcase those products. So make sure they show. Winning test number 5, guys. We've got a couple more. Hopefully you're enjoying this. We have that exclusive bonus at the end as well, and a Q&A. So thank you for sticking around. We'll fire through these next ones. So homepage hero test. So again, data. We did the data. You have to get the data first and foremost. Suggested that increasing clarity on what the product is, who it's for, and why you should choose and improve user trust and engagement. So we tested a redesigned hero section with clearer messaging, enhanced UX UI, and trust building elements. A couple of elements that we always look for on a homepage above the fold. 1, social proof. 2, trust and credibility. And 3, value perception. So you have only, 3-4 seconds to convey those things above the fold on your homepage to a cold consumer to convert them into an interested or warm prospect. Okay, so how can I show that we are a real business with trust and credibility? How can I showcase that, people have rated us and review us with social proof? And how can I just showcase that we're a valuable product? We did that here by showcasing the social proof. We introduced benefit-driven bullet points, 3 simple bullet points that just showcase the benefit of the product or the store. Obviously an image goes a long way. These underneath the CTA that made us trusted as a brand, things like money back guarantees, things like 24/7 delivery, things like if you're vegan friendly, GMO friendly, if you're manufactured in the US, if you were established in 2020. There's a reason at the beginning of these workshops, we start with that slide that looks like we're bragging. We're not showing off. I'm doing it to get trust so that you then go to the, there's literally, we've had hundreds of people on this workshop and one person has dropped out since the beginning. The reason is because we laid it up with that social proof and trust at the beginning. We showcased that we were a real business, that we cared, and that's why people stick around. It's the same on your stores. You have to convey that trust and social proof.
Yeah, and I think just like Ollie said, you've got a few seconds to make them trust you, and that's all it should be about. Is like who you are, what you sell them, like why should they buy from you, and like where should they go next. And I think again, this goes to like heat map data. If you see a big drop off below the fold, just change your above the fold and just keep working on that. And I think again, this goes into our big swings. Like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
the norm, but like if we just change the headline and then we change the bullet points and then we change the image and then we made a better CTA with like that's like you're talking like 2 3 months of work, like waiting for the test to conclude is you've got to make big changes sometimes and you're just optimizing the wrong UI UX is like make that big swing, get better impact, get more revenue, and then you could go down to the smaller tests. Yeah.
Love it. Winning test number 6, guys. AOV. How can we boost our AOV? So we're going to give you an example of this here. Again, the data showed offering product, sorry, 2 secs on my camera, offering product bundles could increase the AOV and revenue per visitor. So we tested adding a visible bundle option on the product page, showcasing savings of 20%. And the goal was to drive that higher purchase. Now look at this. Over nearly $200,000 per month from the same visitors. Okay, nearly $2 million per year for this test. And all we did is we took, this was actually, it shows as a supplement, this was actually a sunglass brand, a large sunglass brand in the US. We took their product pages and underneath the add to cart, we added a 3-pack bundle. We obviously tested different bundles at different price points, but the 3-pack bundle is 20% saving, added to far higher purchase rate with a far higher AOV. And as you can see, the incremental increases was just game changing for the brand.
Yeah, I think like AOV is the easiest thing to nudge. Like conversion rate, it can always like if you run a bad ad set, your conversion rate's going to go down. If you run a bad ad set, but your AOV is going to stay up once you get that AOV lever up. So I would look at trying to lift AOV as much as possible because you really will see the impact of that. Um, this test was the biggest test we've ever won. And it was huge. Like AOV risen by like 15% whilst we were like running the test. It was a crazy impact. Obviously, what we didn't just chuck in a bundle. We did find out like customers were buying one or two, or they were buying for their friends. So we just gave them the option to buy more, save more. So it does work a lot, and we made it accessible. We did the follow-up test of this where we added it to the collections and it lost. So we added that bundle to the collection page, but that's because people didn't discover what product they wanted more. They weren't sold on the product.
They're not deep enough down the funnel, right?
Yeah, so don't just go ahead and jump with it. But yeah, I would always look ways to bundle and save. If you're selling supplements, 1-pack, 3-pack, 5-pack, just get that AOV in, get that revenue in, and then yeah.
Love it. Very quickly, what bundle app would we recommend?
Oh God. We tend to custom build
I
it.
was going to say most of these are custom, aren't they? Because
Yeah,
we
so
take
we
such a
tend to
strategic
custom build
approach to
it.
it.
I would say bundle app. I don't know. I think Rebuy do a pretty good bundle app, but I think they're the only ones that integrate with subscription.
Yeah.
We custom build every bundle.
Typically speaking, yeah, we would custom build this. Okay, winning test number 7, the PDP and above the fold PDP tests, obviously are going to be one of our biggest winning tests across the board. So this is again just utilizing Ezra's brand because he has given me permission to actually show the pages and the changes. So surveying our customers, informed of the PDP changes, adding things like social proof, visible savings, sticky add to cart, gallery thumbnails, and usability. So just to run through these tests, one quick thing around image carousels, thumbnails will typically convert way better than these radial dots. Why? Because it's a visual draw. People can see that there's more images here. We even added this kind of like bar underneath that showcased there was more if you slide. Treat your image carousels like mini landing pages. I think this is really important. More people will go through your image carousel than they will scroll to the bottom of your landing page. So treat those images like gold dust. Annotate your images, use social proof, put UGC in there, put any benefits in there, and different types of hero shots would work really in your images. Pull your social proof up above the fold. So many people have it far down, it doesn't work. And this was a really interesting one here. So Boom is a pro-age makeup brand. It typically targets older demographics. They were more concerned with the safety of buying from an untrusted site because they haven't purchased before online versus your millennials, your younger generations who are so used to buying online. So collapsing and explaining the money back guarantee, as you can see, added huge incremental increases, nearly 40K per month in winning tests. Really great test here, above the fold on your PDP, Carl.
Yeah. Yeah, again, like a big change. We did a lot. I think, especially with the no risk money back guarantee, we knew that was important to customers. So, and it is making your site accessible for everyone. You got to imagine that no one knows how to use a computer. Like, there's no point doing clever things if your site's
Yeah.
not functional. Make drop downs openable, like have the first one open, make
Font's big enough. Yeah.
yeah, font size 16 min. I've done user testing sessions and people are zooming in to read it, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "Oh, I'm just reading." Okay, brilliant. So
Yeah.
like, just like
Yeah.
increase your font sizes. I wouldn't even test that. I would just increase your font sizes to 16 minimum. And yeah, like Ollie said, especially when you get thumbnails, especially using heatmap.com, you then get more data because you can see which thumbnail generates the most revenue whilst it's been clicked. So
You
yeah,
can
it's
sort
just
the order
about
out as
having
well. Yeah.
like these best practices, but make sure they're backed from data as well firsthand.
Love it, guys. So I think we've got one more case study. We've then got that exclusive bonus for you. We're going to do some QA. Really appreciate you hanging around here. Again, just shows how many people are still on this workshop and enjoying it. Hopefully it's been insightful. So copy test. I think this is a test that's probably underutilized. I think people don't focus enough on copy. But this is a super simple test, and you can see the uplifts in revenue, nearly 2 million forecasted for the year. And all we simply did is, again, I say it's simple. You have to do that data. You have to understand what your customers' wants, needs, objections, friction points are. You have to survey your audience. But we took those and we quite simply changed from a boring line of text on a PDP page to making the customer more product aware by associating with their product in the description and then outlining the solution in form of benefits when it came to the benefit bullet points before making them select that product. So most people will say that you have to get that add to cart above the fold, you have to try and get everything above the fold, but on specific products where especially you need a little bit more of reassurance and pre-education around product awareness and solution of what it's going to do for you via the benefits, introducing that copy and testing copy above the fold can be huge winning tests. Talk to us about a bit of copy, Carl.
Yeah, I think this winning test came from just a review. We just read through like a lot of reviews and we were like pulling out what they were saying about the product, how their life's been impacted. We made three clear and concise bullet points. Like, so if people didn't read the paragraph, they'll read the bullet points. And I think similar to what Ollie said, is like, yeah, it's all good getting your ads card by the fold, but if you haven't sold the product, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. They're not going to purchase. So copy is like one of the most important things. And we typically see that the best thing about copy is one, you don't need a dev. Like anyone could do a copy test. You just go in and change it. Two, they're the biggest levers. Like UI UX is great, but copy is what sells, is what people read, is what people you're selling them the outcome they want. So test your headlines, test your product titles, test your collection page above the fold, test your product descriptions, like add in benefits. I would just try to change your copy and optimize your copy based on your customer's voice, not what you think is what they're saying about your product.
And
And
what
just
they want. Yeah.
yeah, and just try to implement it as many places as you can.
Love it. Guys, we're going to get to this bonus. So take out your phone. I want everyone on this workshop, whether you're on the workshop now or you're watching a replay, take out your phone. It's going to be important. I'll need you to scan a QR code and you're going to get an amazing bonus for doing so. So I want you to get ready with your phone. Time and time again here at ConversionWise over the past 12 years, we get consistent results for our clients. You can see some of the testimonials from some of the biggest names in the industry. We are the top rated CRO agency on Trustpilot. Go to our site. We have hundreds of reviews, hundreds of case studies. And we want to offer 10 brands on this workshop a free UX UI CRO audit. So if you are doing over 50,000 sessions per month, We are going to analyze the key pages on your store. We are going to note some high impact changes that you can make to increase your revenue per visitor. We're going to give you a roadmap for your CRO growth in 2025, and it's all 100% free. The first 10 brands that do this are going to get this. We're going to get you on a call. We're going to walk through this all for you, 100% free. Get your phones ready, guys. If you're ready, scan this QR code, or you can go to cnvrsn.co/Oliver. Scan the QR code. The first 10 brands who fill in that type form are going to get that free CRO audit. And for now, I'm going to switch back to this, but I like to